is this guy I know.
Almost entirely.
He works in computer.
Well, not entirely.
Security.
It's growing along.
And he works in a basement with no
Most
windows.
of the buildings have collapsed.
And Brett makes the joke of
that sounds like something.
They work in a basement with no windows because they can't have them.
Never have too much water, even if it burns. And that's just hot survival tip number 1 in today's Golden Voog Power Hour. We'll do it in post. Sponsored today by that's a lot of blood coming out of my veins right now. Sponsored by the one and only Panera Bread of Columbus, Ohio. Not the cause of blood poisoning, at least to me. It was a decaying raccoon carcass. We're gonna have a lot of fun for you folks today. Today we're going to talk about global warming. Is it a myth by the plastic children or the horrific radiation mutants? And I'm going to give survival tips number 2 through 7. Remember, number 1 was you can never drink too much water, even if you start to cough up blood and eventually die. Oh god. Let me just show it to the camera. This is a lot of blood. See, look at how much blood this is. See, oh, you can't see it here. Oh, you can't see it. I'm sorry. Folks, we'll have to, you know what? I'll go eat more of that raccoon so I can show the blood to you. For now, just smear it all over my face. Just so you know, hopefully that will help. Have fun! But first, I want to show you, show you a new segment. Show you a new segment called Globes. What? Globes. What are they? Question mark, period, exclamation point. Next week, grammar, what is it? So many lost mysteries that the scholars down there with the plastic children are trying to figure out, and a few up with the horrific radiation-induced hypermutants. Well, at least the ones who have not become radiation-induced hypermutants and are now banging at my door trying to come and eat me. But, you know, those are just the risks I take to educate you, plastic children down below the Earth's crust, about the dangers up above and why you should stay there and never leave, because it is horrible. Everything in the world above is horrible, except for Panera Bread. I did not bring my coffee cup with me because I did not think this would turn into another sponsorship opportunity. That's survival tip number 2. Look for sponsorship opportunities everywhere, because you don't know who or what or when will induce you to want to talk about your great, amazing sponsors like Panera Bread of Columbus, Ohio. For now, though, we're talking about globes. Globes. This, as you probably know, being down there, you plastic children who I envy every day and would kill millions of men to be with, is a globe. We, in the middling place as well as up above, however, we are unfamiliar with what this thing is. And our academics, most of which, as I said, are probably at this point have mutated and start turning into murders, eating people sort of people. You know, the eating people, so they call, I believe down there, they call them cannibals and consider them aberrations. We consider them gods. This is a globe. So we've been trying to figure out what it is, and there are a few different competing theories about what, why, where, and when this globe is. So generally it has been decided that this is some sort of religious artifact. But what religion and how, why, we don't know that. I personally worship it as a god, in addition to the people-eating people super hyphenates up above, which I've discussed before, and just one of many reasons to never leave your safe bunkers, plastic children, that are below the Earth's crust, as opposed to my bunker, which is very flimsy and threatens to be destroyed at every moment. But at least then I would get to go to Panera Bread more often, and I wouldn't need to dress up in my super hyper coat, because the radioactive dust would already be in my lungs, and at that point, what's the point of it all? Haha! Good joke, Voog. Everyone loves you. They all love you. Survival tip number 3. Remember survival tip number 2. Another belief is that this is one of many representations of the entity that they call God, with a capital G, which is distinct from God with a lowercase g, which is a regular noun as opposed to a proper noun. But again, that is for grammar time, which is in next week's show. If there is a next week, I might die at any point. Please help me. So anyway, just to finish this up on globes. Globes are dangerous, and throw them away if you see one. Do not attempt to consume it, do not attempt to look at it, and above all, do not spin it, because this will summon the Dark Ones, who live either above or below us. I don't know which, one or the other. It doesn't really matter at this point, as all space is relative. Silly Voog. Success only comes to people who have success. Oh dear, I made a mistake already. Look at me being not successful again. No wonder I don't get any help or love or friends or family, and am instead alone first to fend off horrific beings who try to eat my spinal fluid. But that's life, Sometimes you spill a few chocolate eggs onto the floor, and you are no longer able to eat them without having horrific blood illnesses, like this one I have. Again, you cannot see very well because of the lighting, which is very poor. But it has to be set up this way such that there is a dark area right by the door right behind you, Mr. Camera Fan. Camera Fan? Do you love me? Camera? I said cameraman, but there's no cameraman. There's just the camera, so the camera's not a man. So I said fan. That's just like a little subconscious, little Freudian slip. Maybe I know. As the prophets tell us, we know more things than we think that we know. We know more than we know that we know. That's what they always say. That's how you get on the rocket ships. And so I had this little Freudian slip where I called camera Mr. Camera Fan. Are you a fan, Mr. Camera? Speak to me, camera. Do you love me, camera? Do you love me, camera? Well, enough of that. Right now it's time for a story with Voog. Voog tells lots of stories to lots of people, including you people behind the camera. The camera is not real, remember that, Voog. The camera does not have thoughts or feelings, thus it cannot be your fan, or friend, or loved one, and thus cannot help you in your times of need. But through Mr. Camera, who is not a person, Mr. Camera's not a person, you can make friends, Voog. Remember that to yourself. Say it to yourself every day before you go to bed. And that way you will wake up the next morning and not find yourself as a horrific and lawless creature without thoughts or feelings of your own. Story time with Voog. Wowdy wow, what a treat for all of you people out there above and below me who are listening and watching, hopefully. And may or may not love me and help me in my times of need. Today I'm reading a book which is called A Writer's Reference by Diana Hacker. Let's see. So this book has lots of contents. Let's see, first of all, planning, drafting, revising, working on a word processor. Now, you probably don't know any of these words. So planning is something that people used to do before they could die at any moment. Drafting is a similar sort of thing. It's a type of planning, except it's less interesting. Revising is the opposite of planning. So you take your plans and throw them away and just do whatever seems to make sense to you at the time. So this is basically everyday life for us. So this part should be easy. Then working on a word processor. So you plastic children down below, you're going to say, what? Word processors? I use those every day. How is that a weird and strange thing? But the people up above and us middling people as well. Well, the exception of me, I'm one of the rare few very, very lucky ones who happens to have a word processor on my computer. Most of them are gone because they were banned by the government. Word processors, what it is it's like a little box, and what you do is you take paper, which is something which will a more complicated thing I have to go to a future episode with. Take paper and a pencil or marker, some other writing implement, all of which are more complicated words, but all of them end up being about the same thing, which is that it's like a knife which you can't kill people with, and which only works on very soft things, and not people. I want to be very clear. You can only kill people with knives, nothing else. Knives and radiation, nothing. The humans are immune to all other things except for knives and radiation, and teeth, and guns. So word processors, what it is you take your paper and you make marks on it, and then you stick it in the little box, and then it smashes it up into little bits, and then you eat it, and then you gain the words. Anyway, this is a terrible story, 1 out of 5 stars. Gee whiz, it looks like we're almost up. Our time is almost gone. Not on this mortal coil, however, on this world or above or below it. But for this episode of Voog's Happy Fun Time Glory Hour of Fun. Anyway, I want to thank again my sponsors, the Panera Bread of Columbus, Ohio, the only place for clean fresh water that will not make your mouth bleed. They also have good coffee. We sure had a lot of fun today, didn't we? Looked at some globes and talked about why you should never look at globes ever. Don't look at globes, they will kill you in your sleep. And are evil and probably sent here by aliens from above or below the earth, I don't know which. We also read a story. Between that I blacked out for about 79 minutes. And it was a bad story. It was real bad. It didn't follow a plot arc of any kind. It was just, there was no exposition, none. So that's -1 star from maximum of 5. Rising action, none. Climax, none. Conclusion, 0. Following action, 0. Did have a conclusion though. Denouncement. Added denouncement. Said thank you to Carrie and Dave for helping me through all of this. I'm assuming it refers to everything. Life itself is a struggle. That's something they don't tell you in storybooks, except for the denouncement of that one, which otherwise had no story, and that's why it was terrible. But it had a good message, so that's why I rewarded it the maximum number, 1 star. Overall, it was still terrible. But anyway, if you had gone back to the top of the show at any point during this, and just to look at it and see, what's going on, you might have been disappointed, because you see, I mentioned something there, which I didn't end up doing, which was talking about survival tips 2 for 7. Now, a little bit sneaky, I already talked about survival tip number 1 in the introduction of the show. So, that's a pretty sneaky thing that I like to do sometimes, because I'm a sneaky smart man. So then, 2 for 7. Sorry, 2 for 7. I've only done 2 for 3. So, really, we have a whole nother segment left on the show, and it's called Final Survival Tip. Oh, sorry, I forgot to do the little guiding hand that I need to do for the editor robot to be able to do things properly. So, survival tip, survival tips, 3 for 7. So 3, I'll repeat, which is to always pay attention to survival tip 2, which is always look out for sponsorship opportunities, because that will keep you alive in the post-apocalyptic hell wasteland, which we all live in except for the plastic children, as has been established. Most of these survival tips you would have learned throughout the episode if you're paying very close attention, which makes this, really, an announcement in and of itself and not a separate segment, which is why it came after the wrap-up thing, because the wrap-up lets you see how this whole thing is really a very well-told story. After all, we have the exposition, which is I come down, you hear the scary noises of the above land, and that gives you a sense of, the setting, which is real life. And then surprising action, am I going to take off my coat or not? And then I do. But that's not the climax yet. The climax is, something to do with blood. Let's not waste any more of your good time than viewers, because I'm sure you have lots of things to do, like building shelters if you are above or you're below, or maybe studying for a suite so that you can get a good position, like being one of the elders, eventually one of the great elders of your plastic children's civilization, who will see humanity through these dark times when we almost died out because of war, which is bad. That is survival tip number 4. Don't war. War is dangerous and could kill people, but you might have to war, for supplies or things of that nature, or else you would die. And, warring if you think you can war well, nothing wrong with that. It's not, murder to survive, kill to survive, do anything if it prevents your dying faster. That's survival tip number 5. Do anything to die slower, even if it means contradicting any of the previous survival tips, like number 4 in particular. Don't war. Survival tip number 6, then. Wait. These should all... Oh, I messed up. Oh dear. Oh, I messed up. Survival tip 4A, then. When you're telling a story, include an exposition, as we learned from that bad story we talked about earlier. And 5A, similar, include a rising action. Again, 6, no A here, because I didn't mess up. I figured the things out before I messed up to the extent of 6. So I'm not that much of a lack of memory person. So number 6 would be to include a climax, and then 7 is to include an announcement. However, remember, the story did have an announcement, so it wasn't entirely badness. You got that. More water. Good stuff there. I just drank, oh dear, all over my shirt. Well, this isn't a guide for, how to clean a shirt or how to drink water without spilling it onto your shirt and fancy bow tie. That's for next week if I live. You eagle-eyed viewers who have gone back to the start, as I've told you multiple times before, you should have by now at least once gone back to start to wrap your head around the whole situation with the rising action and the climax and falling action announcement, which is happening now, I guess, when it already happened. And we messed it all up. We already had an announcement. We're still going. You have minutes left, multiple minutes left. You would have already had an announcement, which should have been the ending finale of the last thing that happened, but it wasn't. Because I failed. I'm a failure no one will ever love me, because I messed up the whole story thing. There's one way you do a story, at least out here in the West. In the East, I've heard they do a 2-act structure. But, I don't know what a compass is. I do. I'm a very smart man. But I pretend not to seem vulnerable and get you to like me more. Haha. Yay. More water. Haha. Look at that. I drank the water very well there. Much better than I did before. Global warming was made up by the grand elders of the plastic children in order to keep them in slavery and not go up to the surface, which they shouldn't, because it's all danger. So if you're a plastic child down there and one of the little ones, not one of the big grand elders who are up to 12 feet tall and tell these sorts of lies and things to keep you oppressed and down there and safe and calm and happy, not like Voog, who fights for his life every day, and he's decaying raccoon meat, giving him horrible blood and wounds injuries. This has all been established. See, this is still an announcement. It's just a long announcement. I failed the story arc. Just extended it a little. It's just a little bit wonky. It's a bit of a funny story arc. It's like a funny, haha, boo, like me. Because I did a funny story arc. Every funny thing is good. Everyone likes funny. Haha. Love me. Well, that's a show, everybody. Good, nice of you stopping by the good old Voog. Just, give me somebody to talk to, the person to interact with, even through a virtual one-way box, so not really interacting, just sort of sending things out into the void and hoping that someone, comes to my door who's another human being in a horrific radiation-induced hyperbeam trying to eat my spinal fluid. If you're, just sending things out into the void like all of us do in our everyday lives. See, it's not only following the story just a little bit funny so people like me more because it's funny. It also has a nice theme, which is about the human nature of human interaction, which is, we're just sort of sending stuff out into the void, and, we don't know what's going to happen. We just send it out, and what's out there, I don't know. Maybe it's just colors. Maybe colors which adhere to nothing. Haha, maybe there are no substances. Wouldn't that be fun? It would be a funny thing. This is water. What if it isn't a substance? What if it's just a color? In this case, clear color. Clear is the best color. Blue. Love me. Yay. Whoa, that was a mouthful I just spoke there. I'm gonna drink some of this. Water. That's good water. So,